just outside the parliamentary precinct. So, Lindsay, for those who are just walking in right now, let's talk about what the president had to say, and we'll start with the promise of job opportunities.
Yes, Shahan, that's probably what most people wanted to hear today. We know 2 million people have lost their jobs as a result of this pandemic. So what exactly is government going to do to create more jobs? 800,000 jobs, that's what the president's putting on the table in the immediate term. But that just hasn't really resonated much with opposition parties here today, saying there have been promises like this in the past, and the problem has always lay with implementation. How are they going to get this done? The president promising jobs in infrastructure build to get municipal infrastructure up and running, 300,000 teaching assistant jobs, 6,000 community health workers to get the NHI going. But so many of those that I've spoken here today just don't feel that it goes far enough to compensate all of those who have lost their jobs. Let's take a listen to the promises made by the president in the House here this afternoon.
We're going to create 300,000 opportunities for young people to be engaged as education and school assistants at schools throughout the country, to help teachers with basic routine work so that more time is spent on teaching and enabling learners to catch up from the time lost because of COVID. This is a great opportunity for young people, and having met a number of young people, this is something that they are looking forward to. More than 60,000 jobs will be created for labor-intensive maintenance and construction of municipal infrastructure as well as rural roads. To support our healthcare system, and an additional 6,000 community health workers and nursing assistants will be deployed as we proceed with the implementation of the National Health Insurance. Public employment will be expanded at the provincial and city level, contributing to cleaner, greener, and safer public spaces and improved maintenance of our country's facilities.
So, Lindsay, as we know, civil society groups as well as trade union federations were calling for an extension to the social grants. What's the word on that?
Shahan, that's probably the best news to come out of this afternoon's speech for those in the immediate future, is that COVID 350 Rand relief grant will be extended for another 3 months. We know that previously government was quite emphatic that there was simply not going to be enough money to extend it beyond the 6 months. We know that comes to an end at the end of October, but the president said after the next 3 months, then that is it. The taps get turned off and there will be no more money to pay this relief grant. That's been welcomed, obviously, for those who are so in desperate need. But political parties here wanting to know what happens next. Let's take a listen again to the president.
The speed and urgency with which we are expanding employment programs demonstrates our commitment to support those who are without work at this point in time. As these and other recovery measures are being rolled out, we need to do everything in our means to provide support to those in society who continue to face hunger and also continue to face great distress. We will therefore be extending the special COVID-19 grant by a further 3 months, so that we assist our people who are in distress. We had announced that this special COVID grant will come to an end after 6 months, but having received a lot of representations from the organizations that represent our people across the board, and also having realized that pending the full implementation of these measures that we are announcing, there will be a gap of some 3 months where we need to give support to our people to continue the support that was given 6 months ago to make it 9 months. The stretched nature of our financial resources does make it difficult and impossible to extend it beyond the further 3 months.
And naturally, the president had to touch on the fight against corruption and political interference.
He most definitely had to, Shahan, because none of these plans can come to fruition if government doesn't get a grip on crime and corruption. We see the wheels of justice starting to turn, however slowly, and those responsible for decimating state coffers over the years as a result of corruption slowly but surely being brought to book. And the president making a bold promise in the National Assembly this afternoon, pledging to South Africans that he will ensure that no one will interfere in the law enforcement agencies. He says no, there will be no political meddling, and he'll personally see to it that their duties are not interfered with in any way. Here's President Cyril Ramaphosa again.
Law enforcement agencies are being strengthened, and they are also being provided with adequate resources to enable the identification and swift prosecution of corruption and fraud. We wish to assure all South Africans, I would like to assure all South Africans, if there ever was doubt, that there will be no political interference. Repeat, there will be no political interference with the work of our law enforcement agencies. I will make sure that there is none, because it is only when there is no political interference that we are able to observe the rule of law and strengthen all our agencies in the criminal justice system. We will continue to strengthen the framework to ensure that political office bearers at all spheres of government do not do business with the state, and we welcome the agreement at NEDLAC that all social partners will act decisively against corruption and fraud in their own ranks.
Yeah, we're going to have to hold the president to that, right? He says he will make sure that there's no political interference when it comes to the fight against corruption.